Welcome back to Adobe Illustrator CC. This tutorial is titled Grouping. So basically in this tutorial we're going to discover how groups work in Illustrator. So right now I have the selection tool selected and I have these individual little shapes here. A couple of rounded circles, rounded rectangles here. And I can select each individual part just fine. What I'm going to do is click on one and then hold the shift key and select this little red one. So basically like the eyes of this face here. Go to object at the top here and go down to group, which has the hotkey of Control G, Command G on the Mac. So I can select this and hold the shift key and select this, go to object and choose group. And then I can select this and then hold the shift key and go to object and go down to group. Now if I wanted to ungroup anything, I could choose it and then go down to ungroup, which has the hotkey of Shift Control G or Shift Command G on a Mac. So as I drag now, this all moves as one unit. Now, one way to get into these individual pieces and isolate them is by double clicking. So if I double click, what will happen is I can now isolate this whole area minus the background here. So you'll see as I move, basically everything else stays away. If I double click again, what will happen is it'll start to gray out the background shape, and basically I can move these now independently. So it allows me to get into these individual groups, and then you can see it right here how it goes from the arrow to layer 1 to group, and basically these are nested groups. To escape out, there's a couple different ways. You can hit the escape key, or you can simply double click out anywhere outside the stage here. So there's another way to get inside these groups without having to double click, which is using this weird white arrow. So I'm going to go out any of these tools that have the arrow towards, the arrow towards the bottom corner. You can go out to the tear out bar, and I'm going to click on that one there. And basically what I'm going to do is click on this group selection tool. Now in the beginning it may look like, hey, it works exactly the same as the regular direct selection tool. I mean, basically allows you to grab the individual pieces. The difference is if I double click on this, nothing happens in terms of it gives me options for dealing with corners, which is another thing, but it doesn't allow me to select two of these. Where the group arrow, if I double click, what will happen is it'll select multiple of these pieces. So if I click twice, it selects the two eyes. Now I can move them independently. If I click again, I now have all three, which is including the blue. And if I click again, it basically selects everything. So it allows you basically to very quickly, in terms of speed, is adjust certain aspects to your shape. So if you had a really complicated character that maybe you wanted to modify a few things, sometimes it's easier to use the group selection tool versus digging in using the selection tool through those nested groups by double clicking to isolate until you get to that final one there. So that's pretty much it for grouping. Again, you can go to Object and Group, which is the hotkey of Control G, and Ungroup, which has the hotkey of Shift Control G. That's on a PC. Of course, on a Mac, it would be Command G and Shift Command G. So we'll see you soon in Adobe Illustrator CC. Cheers.